Hello everyone, and welcome to Planet Centauri. This is a game I can personally guarantee none of you have heard of. This game is truly something. While on the surface it seems like just another open-world sandbox game in the vein of Minecraft or Terraria, the more you play this game, the more insane mechanics are revealed. So, let's begin the journey to... I honestly have no clue. I haven't played this game in years. In all seriousness, this is the first video I've made, so if you do enjoy it, any feedback or support does help a lot. Now, onto the video. As a lot of games do, we begin with a crash landing on an alien world. Taking a moment to ponder the mysterious line and absence of any debris from the spaceship, I promptly begin with the many tutorials. During these tutorials, we gathered a basic sword, a few platforms, built a house, and made my first piece of armor. I promptly forgot about said armor for the rest of the time I played the game, and I began the magic tutorial. This tutorial would be our window into the best form of weapon, spells and staves. The first parts of the tutorial were very simple, but the recipe for a book needed for the enchantment table, definitely not anything I've heard before, called for leather, which I had no clue where to get. Deciding on the extremely complex plan of going left, I set out into new lands. Starting my venture strong, I was immediately jump-scared by a night crawler. This was it. My first real foe. An intense battle ensued. I swung my sword valiantly at the beast, and in response, it walked at me. Yeah, so maybe this battle wasn't quite the epic fight I was hoping for, but I dispatched it quickly and proceeded on my journey to find leather, but not after absorbing the 10 souls it left behind. Throughout the night I was confronted by many night crawlers, and had perfected a tactic to deal with all of them. Just walking backwards slowly. The only interesting things that happened were I found this cool scepter, which I proceeded to never use, and I was jump scared yet again. This time, however, a giant nightcrawler accompanied its small friend, and after a lengthy battle, I was finally defeated and dropped a few of the souls I had collected. After my defeat, I opted to head back over to reclaim my souls. After progressing a little bit further, I stumbled upon this. A mysterious purple portal sitting underground. After a moment of thought, I decided, why not, and went to go investigate. When I arrived, I was prompted to press R, at which point the portal disappeared and I was gifted with a tin ring. This ring kinda sucked, but remember that portal. It will be important later. After that, I wandered until the night became morning, and I found a little chest on the ground. I used 150 souls to open it, and found some fun fruits, vegetables, and other random stuff inside. Many of it was pretty confusing, like this transformation seal that I had no clue what to do with right now, but would definitely become useful later. While fighting a slime, this screeching creature appeared. A repti. It died rather unceremoniously, but left behind one singular piece of leather. The hunt was finally over. I used the crystal I found in the chest to teleport home, crafted the book and table, and spent way too long staring at the spell creator before creating the basic fireball spell the game wanted me to. With the magic quest complete, I did one more quest where I unlocked a run skill that I couldn't figure out how to use, and after that I was rather tired of doing quests, so I opted to explore some more. Heading right, I found a broken windmill, which I couldn't figure out how to fix, and a large pit that headed directly underground. With no other interesting options, I jumped into what would be a multiple-hour-long adventure in the caves. Not too long after I began my descent, I stumbled upon this dungeon-looking structure. While searching for a way in, I came across another purple portal. At this point, I'd found a decent few, and they'd just given me, bad rings. But this time, it gave me something quite a bit more interesting. The Novice Divine Ray Scepter. I immediately tested it on a bat and noticed something very intriguing. See this? This little number right here? That's how much damage I did to it. 21 damage. Now look at my sword here. 3 damage. This ray was in fact 7 times better than my sword. The only downside was it consumed mana, which took a little while to regenerate, but that was pretty minor, and I knew this scepter and me were going to do great things. I eventually found my way into the dungeon-esque building and descended down a few levels. During my time finding the entrance, I noted a couple monsters lurking at the bottom, some of which I'd never seen before, like this butcher and this skeleton. I used my newly acquired staff to kill them all from a platform safe from any of their attacks, and went in for the kill on the last couple weakened butchers. While I was dispatching the last skeleton, I accidentally broke the cage of an imprisoned green man who ran directly into the skeleton and then vanished into thin air. Descending even further down, I found another structure buried in the deep, this one a lot more regal and fancy. The entrance to the structure was a lot more obvious than the last, and after clearing the door I headed inside. Immediately I noticed the chest in the middle of the room, and upon inspecting it, the words extermination and aphanphasmophobia appeared. Upon seeing a bunch of enemies fall out of portals, I immediately started attacking them. The 2 repties that attacked me caused all the enemies to disappear immediately. Now is probably a good time to mention that aphanphasmophobia means a fear of being touched. Now, of course, I didn't know this, but I was able to clear it on my second attempt. The chest gave me a few bars and grenades, but also a few equipable items that would surely be useful to me later on. I wandered for ages in the caves, finding not much of interest, before eventually succumbing to a large fall. Respawning at my home, I decided to use a stone crystal I found in a chest. The crystal teleported me to a dungeon underground. Upon entering the dungeon, I was greeted by a lot of trap gauntlets. Mostly it was just avoiding spikes, fighting some enemies, fighting a big guy, surviving some enemies, and repeat until I got to the end. Before I entered what was very clearly a boss arena, I equipped the best sword I'd found and got a few healing potions ready. Once I stepped in, it turned out just to be an extra large nightcrawler, and so I was easily able to defeat it with my laser staff. Gathering the loot from the chest, another dungeon door presented itself. Because this dungeon was quite easy, if a bit tedious, I decided to go ahead and try this one. Immediately, this dungeon proved to be slightly harder than the last one. I made my way through this dungeon, dodging spikes, defeating enemies, dodging fireballs, and repeat. The boss arena at the end of this dungeon was much more menacing, though. After gearing up, I hopped into the arena. This time, a giant possessed sword presented itself. I fought valiantly, exchanging blows, but in the end, its attacks were just too hard to dodge, and I died. Well, that's the end of my story for today. Thanks for watching to the end of the video. Hopefully it was enjoyable. If you liked it, please tell me what I did right, and if you didn't, please tell me what I did wrong. If this gets enough support, maybe I'll make another one. So yeah, thank you very much. Goodbye.